Yeah. Yeah.
Hey y'all, it's just me, Shana D here, and I have not been here in a while. How's everybody doing? I think it's been about a month of Sundays I haven't been here. Just want to come to you real quick tonight. I won't be before you long. Um, just want to talk about, like I said, take care of you first. Health, wellness, self care, self love. And that's a part of like having a love chat with you guys. Um, what prompted me today to talk about it? I was going on another social media platform and I got kind of sad looking at it. It was really disheartening, almost like when you're scrolling and then you're looking at others' life, or it's a nice way of scrolling, it's called voyaging. When you're voyaging and you're looking at others' lives, you tend to be a bit empathetic to their situations or whatever they have going on. And what really got to me tonight was just seeing some of these sad stories of just life happening for people. You know, the stories of the fairy tale weddings and relationships and things are happening, and then they find out that the husband or wife or the significant other has months to live. It's almost like, why do good bad things happen to good people? We have no control over that, but stuff like that. That's kind of like when I was looking, like, oh my goodness, life is truly happening all around. And it kind of prompted me to want to talk about it tonight. And I'm guilty myself of, learning to take the time to take care of you. That is so important, so very important, of learning when to take care of you. A lot of times we work a lot. We we work a lot and then we tend not to take care of ourselves. And that's not always a good space to be in. Sometimes we are busy taking care of others and we don't have time to take care of ourselves. And it's not saying you don't love yourself or want to take care of yourself, but we've got to take that time out to take care of ourselves. So, what does that look like? I am seasoning gracefully, as I like to say. So, I'm at a stage in life where I want to intentionally take care of me better, love me better. And you oftentimes have to ensure that those around you love you as much as you love yourself, in loving yourself better. Love yourself better to choose your peace. You know, a lot of times we have a chaotic life, chaotic friends, whatever. Sometimes it can get that way, but you have to make a choice to love you a little bit better, take care of you a little bit better, eat a little better. I know I can. I don't know about you guys. I don't eat too horribly, but even to that, we can treat ourselves from time to time, but not to overindulge. Am I perfect? No, I'm fluffy. But like I said, I'm seasoning gracefully, but I want to live longer. I want to add years to my life. I want to, as the Bible says, my latter years will be greater. I want those latter years to be greater because once upon a time I spent so much time working and go get and go get and go getting that I didn't have time to take care of me. Luckily, I didn't have a lot of health scares, but I could have. Um, I remember my late brother, he said to me, don't work so much that you don't have time to take care of yourself. Go to the doctor. And I didn't realize at the time he was sharing with me because that is something he had done. You guys, excuse my background, there's a trumpet. Okay, the trumpet has sound. But that he was telling me, thank you guys. He was telling me that because he was experiencing that. He was given a diagnosis of only having 36 months to live, 3 years to live. And he came to me, and mind you, my brother was 22 years my elder. So here I am in my 30s. He's in his 50s. And we were at a stage in life where he wasn't like a second dad. He was actually my brother. He was my friend. You know, growing up, he was like as another set of parents because of the age gap. But he came to me and he said, "Hey," and he's got these tears in his eyes, and he said, "I only have 3 years to live, sis." I said, "What?" Mind you, I'm pregnant with my first child, and he's telling me this. I was like, "No, what are you talking about?" And he's like, "Well, I'm going to do these clinical studies, but the doctor says I only really have, 3 years to live." And I wasn't in denial. I was just in shock. I was really in shock because he was upset, but he was like a calm upset, if that even makes sense. And he said, "Don't work so much," because we have a high work ethic. And he saw that in me. He said, "Don't work so much that you can't take care of yourself." I did it. And so he was going to see some specialists and whatnot. And I said, "Well, I'll tell you what." I said, "We're going to live every day like it's not your last." I said, "Because we don't ever know when your last day is." I said, "We're not going to think about it, even though we know it's there. And we're going to just live life without regret. We're going to hang out. We're going to do all the things that we desire to do as siblings because we were the only two in town. I think at the time, I don't know if my middle sister was here or not, but we were able to spend time as siblings and hang out, go out together, take trips together." And I'm like, "You know what? We're just going to do this thing." And those were the most amazing few years of my life. He was a very firm and stern and surely brazen man. He was like a quiet giant in some sense, but he was very boisterous in other sense. You had to know him. If you heard his voice in a room, you could pick him out in a crowd. His laugh was so contagious. It was one of those big belly barreled laughs. Um, and but just to have those good times with him in his last days. So I guess I'm saying, what does that mean to take care of yourself? I know what physicians say, and I know what, when you look at things to say, "Hey, let me check Google. What does this say?" Google's been, our next best friend and used to be Wikipedia. You self diagnose yourself. But what does that look like to take care of yourself? That means get your rest. They say eating healthy. That's not always easy to do in this day and age. We know the prices of groceries, and if you have a family, if you're single, hey, you're blessed because it's just you. But when you look at the prices of things, eating, it costs more in our society to eat healthy than it does to eat bad, to eat poorly. So you have to make a conscious decision to budget, to if you have to budget, some can just go to the store, get what they need, whatever. And that's a beautiful thing. But when you really want to put your best foot forward at trying to live better, you have to budget and you have to really find those things that you can eat and that you'll have, to reach those goals. And that's eating healthy, cut out the sugars, cut out the fat, get the natural sugars. There's so many of us in this society that are pre diabetic and diabetic. So many of us in this society that have heart disease, hypertension. What do you need to do to get those things under control? If you're at my age and you're not taking medication, you are in front of the eight ball, my dear, completely in front of the eight ball. And that's where you want to stay. And I look at that, but some days I don't feel my best. And I have to think about, what are you doing, Shana D? What can you do better? What can you do to make some changes? Make some steps to living better, to take care of you. So, as I was saying, live. The old saying was eat, breathe, and move. And that's the truth. Try to eat healthy. Spend time, if you're an outdoorsy person, spend time outside doing things. I tend to love the spring and summer. It's my favorite months of the year, favorite season of the year, I should say, because I'm able to get outside. I'm able to take those walks. I'm able to plant my flowers. I'm able to just absorb the earth and nature. And it's like I recharge there. And because we are natural creatures. And so if you're, some of us that are deep thinkers, some people are, some people aren't. But if you're a deep thinker, you understand the concept of being one with nature. Because we have dominion over nature. We don't realize it sometimes, but we do. But spend time in nature outside. Get that vitamin D. When you're able to get outside, when it's warm, get outside and get in that sun. I know it may be hot, but get out there and soak it up. Find things you enjoy to do. Do those things that you enjoy. Express yourself. Be grateful when you open your eyes every day. That is types of wellness and care and self-love. That counts as, promoting your happiness and your well-being. Is it good to take care of yourself? Absolutely. It helps you mentally, it helps you physically, it helps you emotionally, and most of all, it helps you spiritually. We've talked about this before, finding your peace. That's taking care of you when you find, let me tell you something about life. If you don't know, you'll know by now. When you find your peace and you realize how invaluable your peace is, you refuse to let anybody take that from you. That is priceless. When you realize what real peace is, that is so priceless. So priceless. I'm an extroverted introvert, but let me tell you something. I recharge in silence, and I refuse. I don't care who it is. You could be a family member. I'm not about to let you disturb, disrupt, upset my peace. I won't even let my dog upset my peace. Let me tell you how serious it is. So that's a place to recover, even spiritually, not necessarily in a religious aspect, but spiritually. When you ground, when you meditate, having faith is beautiful. If you're a Christian or whatever your belief is, having that faith in something greater than you, someone greater than you, is phenomenal. And that supports you in your well-being, believe it or not. What's the best way to take care of yourself? There's so many ways that we can take care of our minds, our bodies, and our souls every day. And it's not just when you're sick. Like right now, like I said, I'm making a conscious decision to eat differently. And when we do that, and that reduces stress on our bodies. When we exercise, that reduces stress on our bodies. Take a path to wellness. A holistic type of wellness is important. It'll keep you happy, it'll keep you fit, it'll keep you in the right state of mind. Sometimes our imbalance is diet. Sometimes our imbalance is emotional. Sometimes our imbalance is mental. So we've had these love chats. And we've talked about loving ourselves. Self care is a part of loving you. Love you better than you've ever done that before. Make an effort. And it's hard to do when you have a busy life, when your lifestyle calls you out all the time and you're always going, 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 going. It's hard to practice that self-care. If you have a family, it's hard to get self-care because you're so busy with those elements of family, those sections of having a family, whether it's your animals, if your significant other, your children, so that your family needs a lot of attention, but we have a lot of attention. We have to know how to get that healthy balance. What steps do you need to make? What measures do you need to take to have that healthy balance? We've got to know how to start doing that. And there's a plethora of things that we can do to achieve that. I'll tell you what, one for the natural sense, meal prepping. When you don't do that, you just grab whatever's quick, whatever's close, whatever's easy. And it's not always the best decision. Let me tell y'all, it's not always the best decision. Rest. That's important. Getting your sleep. I know in my past life, I would probably get 3, 4 hours. Oh, I can go off of 3. I can make it off of 3. Oh, 4, I'm doing good. That is a lie from the pit of you know where. You have to get your rest. I've learned as I've aged, you have to get your rest because you can't focus when you're not rested. You are taking a toll on yourself physically and mentally when you don't get your rest. And when you don't rest, you don't have time to rejuvenate. Your body doesn't have time to restructure, recover from the day and your cells. It's a scientific. We are like organisms, okay? So it's scientific. You have to get your rest to recharge. You have to get your rest to get better. Um, Rest is good when you feel stressed. That doesn't necessarily mean you're checking out or you're depressed. But if you get good rest, you have an environment that's conducive to getting rest, you can start healing. So, how do you get there? Get a routine. Just like if you have a routine in the morning, have a routine at night. Think about when to cut that caffeine off. That keeps us going. Figure out what time it is to put that phone down because that blue light, that light will get to you and it triggers your brain. Um, Pay attention to what you eat in the evenings before bedtime. Sometimes you have to take that time to decompress so you can get to stages to get to rest. Lessen your workload right before, whether if you're one that does your cleaning at night or when you put the kids down or whatever. Learn those stages to get to that rest. What do you need to do to get to that in that stopping point? Is that what I want to call it? How do you get to that stopping point? What are you doing to get there? Make sure your sleeping area is comfortable so you can get the best night's sleep. No distractions, turn your TV off. Maybe turn on a sound machine um, so you can just focus on the ocean waves, or if you're one that likes the night sounds or water sounds or nature sounds. If you're one that's on the opposite side of the clock working, like if you're a third shifter, get some room darkening blinds. I've been there before. Get some room darkening blinds so you can keep the sun out so you can sleep when you get home in the mornings. So you wake up when that alarm goes off and not before. Broken sleep is the absolute worst because if you're like me, it's hard to get back and go, get your rest and get back into that good sleep. Um, another way, we don't even think about it. Another way of taking care of yourself and wellness is trusting your instinct. Something? Can you imagine if you trust your instinct, your discernment? Um, like if your body's saying, Oh, I don't want to eat this. I need to eat this. I shouldn't eat that. Pay attention to your gut doesn't fool you, as they say. Um, if your instinct is telling you, and you guys hear me out. I know it sounds kind of strange, but when your instinct is saying, I don't think I want that meat right now. I don't think I want that beef. I don't think I want this. I think I better choose that. Follow your gut instinct, your discernment, your gut instinct, your instinctive nature will tell you what you can have and what you can't have, and what's linked to good health and what's linked to bad health. Let me tell you sometimes, and even adding some type of supplement sometimes helps. But you pay attention to it. Pay attention. I recently just found out from I had two siblings that are like in their like 20 plus years older than me. And my sister was telling me, she said, you never ate meat when you was a kid. You were so skinny. I said, what? Because my theory, I've always been fluffy. But then I think back, I think I started gaining weight as a kid that I can remember. I would say about 11 or 12, maybe 10, between 10 and 12. I was taller, but she told me, she goes, you were so skinny because you ate nothing but vegetables. We could not get you to eat meat. And she said, Dad would always tell us, leave her alone. She'll get full. Leave her alone. She'll get full. And I kind of think back, I'm like, no, I didn't like cheese. I didn't like chicken. I didn't like chicken skin. I didn't like a lot of stuff. And not saying I'm not vegan now, but I do choose to eat that way sometimes. I do make a conscious choice sometimes to not have the meat. I choose to eat like a whole meal that's all fruit and vegetables. And sometimes I do that because that's what I want. Instinctive. That's what I choose that day. And I follow my discernment. Because maybe sometimes that's what my body is craving. And that's, I don't know, some of you may have that same situation. We know that what we can do is, oh my goodness, this is a hard one. Y'all take care of yourself by getting the exercising every day. The best way to start is just to make steps. If you're one that has had surgeries or your knees aren't good, or you just have certain life struggles, we all face them. There's so many modifications to exercises that we can do now that kind of help us to achieve results. It may take you a little longer, but you still can get those results. I'm telling you, I'm taking my accountability right now because I'm putting it out there. I am going to put my best foot forward this year, and I'm really working on me. Um, and that's what I want to start with, my health and wellness. That's important. When you get a certain age, for us ladies, it comes off a little slower, so we have to do that high intensity in a short amount of time. And sometimes just taking those steps. I track my steps, and every day I set a goal, and I want to say if I can get at least 50% of that goal as starting out, and every day I add a little bit more, 55% of my 100% 105% of my goal. And it really helps to make small goals over extended period of time. If we set the bar too high and we don't reach it, that takes us back down emotionally. That kind of is like, oh man, that's a bummer. And then you kind of check out because it's not doing me any good anyway. Don't do that. Set small, smart goals. If you guys understand, make sure it's something that's real, just it's simple. You can measure it, you can obtain it. It's realistic. And so you can track it. So make a smart goal. Um, so just whatever the case is, physically, yoga is a good way to, stretch and do exercises. If you don't get into the I'm gonna leave it alone. We'll talk about that another day. But if you want to do some stretching exercise, I'll say, to increase your mobility and make your balance, and it's easier to do that in water. If you do water exercise, if you're a swimmer, if you get that resistance, resistance training is good when you use your own weight. Um, so that's an option. Even if you're, like I said, if you have joint issues, arthritis issues, you can also do exercises in water. um, that helps with not putting such a strain on your joints and stuff like that. We've already talked about eating right, and that's a big contributor to inflammation. If you have short term memory loss, you guys believe it or not, we've got to think about what feeds our brain, what feeds our heart, what feeds our nervous system, what feeds our eyes, just those different organs in our bodies. What good foods can we have to feed those certain areas of our life and our bodies so we can have good brain health, so we can have our energy levels up. Like I said, I'm not the expert. I'm just sharing and being accountable right here with you. Let me tell you something else. How do you take care of yourself? Say no. Crickets and tumbleweed. You can take care of yourself by saying N to the O. It's not easy. Sometimes we feel obligated to do certain things for certain people because of the relationship we have with them. If somebody's taking your time and energy and it's depleting you, say no. You're stressed. If you're already stressed and overworked, you have no business having somebody else, an extra entity, depleting you of what you don't have already. That's burnout. You're anxious, you're irritable, and then you can't enjoy life that way. That's a space of wellness. That's a space of self care. That's a space of self love. Say no. No. Let me practice with me. No. Say it again. No. Say it again. No to the head. No. Heatable hockey sticks. No. Did you not hear me say no? I can't do that at the present time. Think about it. How would that person feel if it was on the other side of the coin? Would they be able to tell you no? Probably so. Take care of you by saying no. You can politely decline the offer to use you. If you look at it that way, you can politely decline the offer to use you. Um, Give yourself some space so you can benefit. You know, check that one out. Take a little time to, whether it's a staycation, vacation, retreat, getaway, every now and again, taking that time out is good for you. Even if you're not stressed. So it kind of keeps you balanced. Um, it prevents you from getting burnt out, that's for sure. Um, it doesn't have to be expensive. You can just take a trip to the next city, or go to take a couple hour ride. It doesn't always have to be extravagant. It can be simple, and then to make that extravagant trip, if you plan that annually or whatever, getting out of your regular schedule and take the time to do something just for yourself is a good way to feel good. And it's a good way to feel good about your environment. It's a good way to feel about this great big old world you're living in. We've already talked about getting outside, y'all. It's getting ready to get warm. Um, and it also lowers your blood pressure. Spending time in nature, spending time can decrease your blood pressure if you're one that has hypertension. And it helps you cope with depression. Let me tell you something. When you busy yourself, because we got a lot of world going on around us, and the world is not always a pretty place to be in, and we know that. But it can help you. It can help you with symptoms of depression. And for our furry lovers, if you have animals, I'm just going down like things that I can think of. If you have like a pet, um, let me tell you, they're the best. Whether you're a cat lover, a dog lover, if you like domestic animals, even if you like exotic animals, um, sometimes they help us feel better. And sometimes those little creatures know when we're not our greatest. But the beautiful thing about them, their love is unconditional. They don't care how you feel. They don't care how you look. They don't care what your hair looks like. They don't care what your weight is. They just care about you and how you make them feel. That loyalty and that providing companionship, we love our fur babies. It's beneficial to you. I'll tell you what, I'm a witness to that. We have a rescue, and he helped me reduce my anxiety. Spending time with him and training him let me forget about what I was anxious about, what I was stressed about, what I was thinking about, what I was having trauma over. Um, and that's why, don't take for granted when you see somebody with a service dog. You don't know what they serve for them. That one nudge, or that's, whether if they have a medical incapacity, or if they have, life alerts or whatever, or they just need them for the PTSD. Um, they keep us grounded. They're here for a reason. We just need to take care of them while they're here. Here's a good one. Take care of yourself by decluttering your life. Don't be a hoarder of things. If you haven't worn it, you're not going to, most likely. If you haven't worn it a year, get organized. Get rid of the trash. Get rid of the junk. Get rid of the clutter. That can help you focus. There's nothing like walking through a good, clean smelling house. You know, make sure you set time aside, whether you have a certain day. I have certain days I do chores. Um, but taking that time aside really helps declutter your thoughts, declutter your home, declutter your mind. Put things, I had a friend tell me once, everything has its place and everything should be in its place. There's a place for everything. Oh, I don't know what to do with that. You just need to think outside the box and maybe you can repurpose something, you know. So that's one thing you can do is declutter your life. Sometimes shopping. I love retail therapy personally. Get yourself something new from sometimes. Hey, if you like those big ticket items, go get it. If you can afford it, it doesn't break the bank, treat yourself. Even if it's something just as small as a chapstick, treat yourself. That can change how you perform, whether in your work life, personal life, business life, whatever. That small gesture of gifting yourself. We all know what it feels like to receive gifts from others, but sometimes we have to gift ourselves. And that can have a positive reaction, believe it or not. A new pair of fuzzy socks. Get rid of good old soft fuzzy socks that you can slide across your floor in. A piece of jewelry. I personally like jewelry. Some accessories. Nice pair of slacks or jeans. A suit. Just update something for yourself. How about reading a good book? Some quiet time if you're a reader. Sit down with a nice book. It doesn't have to be a long book. It doesn't have to be a novel. It doesn't have to be an encyclopedia. Just read a good self-awareness or self-health or even something fictional, whatever your thing is, whatever gets you. Find that book, whatever that category it falls in, get a good book and read it. Sometimes it's music. Put your headphones on, get to reading. Get a good book. You'll be amazed at what that does for you. It'll pass time and improve your mood. I like this one. How about when we take time to ourselves? We were talking about peace and what all that entails, but what about when you take time just to be by yourself? I told you a little while ago, I recharge in the silence. I don't want to talk to my husband. I don't want to talk to my dogs. I don't want to talk to my children. I don't want to talk to my friends. I just want to be by myself sometimes. And that is where I recharge. Especially if you work from home, if you work outside the home, sometimes you want that. A lot of times I'll sit in my car. I can go somewhere and I'll sit in that car for like 2 or 3 minutes, maybe 5 sometimes. Even though I've sat in my car for an hour before. And it was not because my day was so bad. It was because whatever I was carrying from that day, I didn't want to carry it across my threshold. And whatever I was having going on at home, I didn't want to carry it across the threshold at work. So learn to when to take and put your luggage down. Know when to just unpack and set that suitcase down. I'm talking about a virtual suitcase, your imaginary suitcase. Set it down before you enter the next room or the next area of your life. You don't want to carry home to work, and you don't want to carry work home. Even if it's not necessarily work or carrying somebody else's issues, you don't have to own it. You can bear a burden with somebody, but you don't have to own the burden. So it's imperative that we do take that time together, whether it is a bubble bath, retail therapy, a good movie, a walk. There's so many small ways to put in your day. Um, you can adjust your day to have time to yourself. If you get up a few minutes early just to have that hot tea or coffee or read something before you start your work day, walk on your lunch, um, make a schedule for yourself so you can keep track of the things you achieved, the goals you achieved. And it can be tricky taking time to yourself because if you have a lot on your plate, like most of us do, it's kind of, you're like, I can't do that. It's impossible. There's nothing impossible, and there's no such thing as I can't. Have you tried? There you go. Think about it. Think about it. I told you I wasn't going to be here too long. I just want to talk about different areas of self care. Like I said, it's a lot of world going on around us. Do we always get it right? No. But we can make steps to get it right, to get it right and get it done. It's hard. It's really hard sometimes to take care of yourself. Maybe it's ingrained in us from our childhoods. You got the go, 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 go. You've seen your parents go, go, go. They were just go getters. And you feel like you adapted that because that's what you saw. That was your environment. I had to learn there's nothing wrong with taking care of you. You don't always have to take care of everybody else. Because if you don't take care of yourself, you're no good for anybody else. Listen to this. Almost everything will work again if you unplug it just for a few minutes, even if it's you. We have so much more to offer the worlds that we live in, the societies, the communities, the social groups, whatever that you're engaged in. We can offer them so much more if we're not running on empty. We can offer so much more if we're not incomplete. We can offer so much more if we just care, not just about each other, but ourselves as well. We have to encourage our groups and friends and family to be better stewards of ourselves. I know I'm trying. Live by the example, lead by the example. You know, we always want to be in good health. We've lived through this situation these past few years. You guys know what I'm talking about. It made us more conscious of our health. Let's keep that same thing in mind. If you lost the motivation to take care of yourself, practice self-help as much as you can. Self-care, practice it. Doesn't find an online therapist. We've gone through so much as society that it's taken a strain on us, taken a toll. We were once an interactive group of people, and then the whole world stopped. You think that didn't affect us some type of way? It did, whether it be emotionally or physically. It impacted us, whether you believe it or not. Some are more obvious, some are surface, some are embedded. But either whatever side you're on, do your best. Do your best to get the help, to get what you need. Remember, engage, eat right, get your rest, read a book, take time out, treat yourself. There's so many different ways. Stay hydrated. If you're a coffee lover, go get you a cup of coffee. If you're a tea drinker, get your tea. But by all means, sit outside in that sun when it's out there. Let it radiate on you and you take it in and get your vitamins from it. Get what you need from it. That's important. Motivate yourself. If you feel like you can't do it alone, get an accountability partner that you know is going to get on your last nerve and get you up off your rump. So we have to take care of ourselves in every arena of life. If I was to draw a wheel, and in the middle of that wheel, I would put self-care. And each bubble I put on outside of that wheel or a spoke, the 8 areas that I would put would be, let's say, physical. That's the most obvious. Psychological, emotional, social. People are important to us. Professional. What's your passion? Where you find your passion leads you to your purpose. Environmental. What are you doing in your community? Are you outside? What are you doing? Spiritual. That's the belief in a higher being than yourself. And financial. Be a good steward of what you got. Good credit. Being a good steward of your saving and finances. That's important. Stay motivated to have that wellness wheel all intact. It takes a minute to get there, but once you're there, you'll know what I'm talking about. Get your wellness wheel in order. Now it sounds kind of corny. It's not like the chopping up that we usually do. Just want to talk about what does it take to take care of you first. Silence the noise. Silence the chaos. Silence the foolishness of others. Block it out if you have to. If it doesn't serve you, if it doesn't serve your wellness, let it go. Ladies, we're good at that. You gotta let it go. Let it go. That's just phase 1. We'll join with Getting Down with Stephen D. And we'll talk more about what does it take to take care of you. What does it take to take care of you? And let me tell you, firsthand experience, it's okay to take care of you. That's all I got. It's just me, Shana D. Stay well.
Damn. Yeah. Yeah.